Hi, this is James Gordon here with the second book in the Mutants Amok series. The book I'll be talking about today, Mutant Hell by Mark Grant. This is the pseudonym written under David Biscoff. This was published by Avon Books. This was published in March 1991. This was a kick-ass sequel. I had a real blast reading this book. This continues right after the events of the first book, and it just gets right to it. It doesn't waste any time. There's no filler or any other bullshit. This book just gets right down to it, and I really enjoyed that. This book has it all. It's got more action, more violence, more gore, more sex in it than the first one did. And overall, I just had a lot of fun reading this book. I actually felt this one was an improvement over the first one, as David makes some improvements from the first book. He adds more detail to the scenery and locations, a lot more action in it. The first book did have some good action sequences in it, but this one has a lot more. And the characters were a lot more fun. I felt that Jack Bender is becoming like a real badass, like Max Terrell from the first book. And there was like hardly anything I disliked this book. There was nothing that I didn't like. Well, there were a few parts I didn't like, but overall, I just had a lot of fun reading this book, and there was never a dull moment. I enjoyed every moment of this book. And like I said, this has a lot of high-octane action, over-the-top violence, mayhem. And it's just, this book has everything I want in a sequel. It's just got everything I want. This is definitely turning out to be a really fun series. I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm finally getting around to reading this book series, as this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm definitely looking forward to reading the other books in the Mutants Amok series. Alright, on to the review. Plot. After Barry escaping the base alive and nearly getting tortured to death by Brown 46, Jack Bender and his friend Phil Potts return to the plane. Their mission to rescue Jenny has failed after she was tortured and murdered. And to make matters worse, Max Turkel, the most skilled and fearless freedom fighter, has been captured and is being sent to the military base in Colorado. Jack plans to rescue him and to avenge the death of Jenny. While in the middle trying to get the plane started, a mutant cop appears and is shooting at them. Jack tells Potts to shoot back with the .45 caliber pistol. Potts fires back but misses, with the mutant cop getting closer as Jack is feeling angry. Jack then orders Potts to give him the pistol. Potts hands him the gun and is able to score a headshot, blowing the mutant cop's brains out, while a massive amount of blood splatters out. He finally gets the plane going as he increases the power. More mutant cops begin firing at them and order them to stop, but refuses. Jack is able to get airborne and fly out of Ohio. He's planning on getting supplies in Kansas, then making his way towards Colorado. Meanwhile, Brain General Turok and his personal guards are flying in an old Lockheed C-141 Starlifter with Max Turkel heavily cuffed and chained to ensure he won't easily escape them. Armed with M16 carbines, Cult Trooper 357 Magnums, and heavy body armor, despite being stared at and trash-talked, Max remains calm as he refuses to show any signs of fear against the disgusting mutants. Upon landing at the military base, Max is then placed inside an armored vehicle and taken to the heart of the base, where he meets the mutant overlord, Ignatius Charlemagne 75, face-to-face. Max is shocked by the sight of Ignatius, a fat, grotesque mutant attached to wires and cables, as he's a cyborg. Max jokes that he must pay one hell of electrical bill, to which Ignatius has his personal robots attack Max by spinning him around before throwing him onto the cold, hard floor. Ignatius plans to torture Max for hours while recording it so he can listen it for his own amusement, to which Max replies that this isn't his idea of easy listening music. Ignatius then spits into Max's face, insulting his human race. Annoyed, Max shakes his head, then reaches for his fly and takes out his big cock and pisses on Ignatius' face, nearly killing him. Landing in an airfield next to a farm, Jack and Potts meet Penelope, a half-seat, a half-human, half-mutant. They are mostly used for slave work and are looked down by the mutants. She welcomes them and offers to help them. They meet her brother Hank and her parents Mr. and Mrs. Cook. They dislike the mutants and wish to aid them. However, during dinner, Penelope is staring at both Jack and Potts, making them uncomfortable, along with Mr. Cook. During the night, Penelope tries to seduce Jack in bed, but he refuses. She then is able to have sex with Potts, but drains him. Jack awakens inside the plane, hearing noises coming from Potts' room. He goes to investigate, but is held at gunpoint by Hank with a sawed-off shotgun. Hank reveals they sell the sperm to the mutants for money and lure humans here. Jack is able to draw out his combat knife and stab Hank in the eye, then in the neck, killing him. Taking the saw off, Jack rescues Potts and engages in a violent shootout before fleeing out of the house, then escaping in the plane. Back in Colorado, Brain General Turok is restless and unable to sleep. He calls Harton, a gunsmith, to meet him in the shooting gallery. Bringing his favorite weapons, Turok picks each one and uses it against a live target, blowing humans to bloody pieces. Turok asks Harden if it's wrong that he didn't kill Max after he pissed all over Ignatius. Harden expresses his views against their overlord, feeling he isn't really a mutant since he's a cyborg, and if Max had killed him, it would have caused chaos for the other mutant bases across America. Fearing they'll be obsolete and replaced after the humans have been exterminated, Turok and Harden hatch a plan to overthrow Ignatius and kill him. The following morning, Jack and Potts leave Kansas and fly towards Colorado. They notice tents. Upon landing, the two men meet Joe Bullfeathers, a Native American tribe leader and fan of rock music. He plays some Jimi Hendrix, Grateful Dead, Cream, and other well-known rock songs on his electric guitar. Then they meet Jill Morningstar, who Jack finds very attractive. Suddenly, a gang of mutant bikers show up and threaten Joe to stop playing his rock music. Jack and Potts aim their guns and kill the mutants. Joe tells them they're used to being pushed around, but Jack warns him that they could have been killed and they need to start fighting back against the mutants. Then they hear the sound of more motorcycles coming this way. Max is tortured for hours but refuses to give any information on the human front. Despite learning weaknesses on the human body, Ignatius plans to leave him for a bit before torturing him again, this time attacking his cock next. But his execution is cancelled when Ignatius owes funds to the mutant IRS. The two mutants watching Max are ordered to leave, and Hartden enters into Max's cell for a deal. He explains the mutants were able to breed new creations of themselves. However, they lacked the computer skills, so they created cyborg mutants to aid them. At first, everything worked fine until they became corrupt with power and homicidal. Hartden strongly believes that Ignatius Charmaine 75 isn't a full mutant and wishes to launch a coup d'etat against the Overlord and wants Max to help. If he agrees to the deal, Harden will allow him to escape on the condition that mutants can live with humans. Max knows he doesn't have much choice and agrees to the deal. Will Max be able to escape this mutant hell? What else does Harden have planned? Can Jack and Potts and their Native American friends reach Max in time while fighting a never army of mutants? And what else does Overlord Ignatius Charmaine 75 have in store against the human race? Mutant Hell was a non-stop action-packed thrill ride, and I enjoyed every moment of it. With its fun and over-the-top characters, to the endless amounts of violence, gore, and sex, to the disgusting mutant villains who are both ruthless and always fun to watch them being killed in the most creative and gory ways possible, like the high level of detail featured in the story, and felt it was a major improvement over the first Mutants Amok. Showing more scenes of the ruins of the old world, mutant-controlled areas, and like the mutant base in Colorado, also good scenery too, along with good detail and weapons. Jack Banner becomes more of a tougher and stronger character. He's skilled with guns, not afraid to fight back, and is able to convince other humans to join his side. Like how Max would want him to carry the torch to light the fire inside of everyone to stand together and fight against the disgusting evil mutants. Potts was a fun character to follow as he too begins to learn his combat skills while getting involved in some wacky scenes. Max continues to be a badass. Despite being captured, he refuses to give in to the mutants, proving he's one tough man, along with delivering some funny one-liners. And I really enjoyed the moment when Max gives Ignatius a golden shower from his big, thick dick. I also like the two new characters that joined the Resistance, Joe Bullfeathers and Jill Morningstar, both tough and skilled characters. While Joe is great with playing a guitar along with handling a submachine gun, Jill was a cute, fun character who quickly takes a liking to Jack. Despite an awkward scene between her and Jack after sex, she was alright. The action and violence is doubled in Mutant Hell, with even more graphic scenes of headshots, limbs being blown off or sliced off. Both mutants and humans are destroyed in the most violent ways possible, as there was never a dull moment in this novel, and the scenes of Max being tortured were intense and painful. As for the mutant characters, they continue to be the cruelest and filthiest villains I have ever read. The disgusting detail on how Ignatius Turox and Hardin, along with the other mutants we come to meet, are gross, filthy, and could even smell from how awful these characters must be. Their actions towards humans has no limits, with Turox shooting people for sport in his personal shooting gallery. However, the mutants are also corrupt as they backstab each other for power and control. While I felt the scene of threatening to charge Ignatius Charmaine 75 IRS funds to prevent him from killing Max was silly, as this scene could have been done differently. But other than that, the mutants are the most ruthless yet fun villains I have ever read in a book series. Overall, I highly recommend Mutants Amok Mutant Hell. If you like intense action-packed novels with lots of guns, violence, gore, sex, and watching humans battle against the most grotesque and disgusting mutant armies, and a fan of 80s and 90s sci-fi action post-apocalyptic films, then this series is for you. Alright, that's the review, so I hope you enjoy it, and like I said, I had a real blast reading Mutant Hell. It was just a lot of fun to read. Now, before I begin with the review, I want to explain why this second video took so long. Well, not too long. It was just a few days after I posted the first one, but originally I started reading the second book, Mutant Hell, right away. And as I was like, writing down what's happening in the book and then adding my thoughts to it, my computer did not save my progress. So when I went to continue reading the book again, and when I brought my file, it didn't save it. So I had to start all over again, and I was just so pissed off about that. So I had to go reread the book again, and then retype everything that I wrote again. It was not fun, and it was a little difficult focusing, trying to read the book when I was just so mad about my computer not saving my damn progress. So now on, I double check to make sure my progress is saved, so I don't have this bullshit happen again. But anyway. So yeah, so that's why this video took a little longer than it should have, but as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to begin reading Rebel Attack, the third book, right after this video, and I'm going to make sure I get the series done before July is over. But anyway, now that's out of the way, back to the book. I really had a lot of fun with Mutant Hell. It was just a lot of fun. Duke? Duke, what are you doing? This is unusual. You're not usually interested in getting screen time on here. Okay, anyway. So, back to the review. So, I really enjoyed Mutant Hell. It was just a lot of fun. The action is increased, the violence, the mayhem, the destruction. It's so over the top. I was just having so much fun. My one issue with sequels is that I feel that a lot of them focus more on the action and less on the story plot and characters, which I don't like. As this is kind of the issue I have with, like, films like Terminator 2, Mad Max, The Road Warrior. There's a couple other films where I feel the sequel is just focused more on the action, less on the plot itself. However, David Biscoff, the author, he does not skip on that. He doesn't sacrifice plot over action and any other of that glitz and glamour. He focuses on the plot, which I really like. That's the most important thing in a story, is the plot. And the characters too. Those are the most important things that you have to focus on as a writer. You can add as much action and sex and violence as all you want in the story, but you gotta really focus on the plot and the characters. That's what's most important. And David does a really good job of following the characters and building an interesting story in this dark, violent world with beautiful scenery in it. I really like the scenes where it features the Colorado mountains in it, and along with see more ruins of the old world that humans populated before the mutants drove them out, and seeing the mutant bases, which are really cool, especially when it features the military base in Colorado, which Max calls Mutant Hell. This scene, when I was reading the scenes of this military base, and it's very eerie, it's cold, the environment is very cold, emotionless, dark, and unsettling. I was getting vibes from those 90s first-person shooter games Doom and Duke Nukem, where you got these really eerie areas that are heavily controlled by enemies and stuff, and this definitely gave off a Doom vibe, especially with the Mutant Hell base, where it just feels like this is straight out of a Doom video game. And then when Max meets Ignatius Charmaine 75 face to face, he is like mentioned in the first book, he is this big, fat, grotesque, disgusting mutant with all these cables and wires hooked up to him. He looks absolutely hideous. And the part where he gets really close to Max Terrell's face, I thought, I could just envision what this mutant smells like. I bet he stinks really badly along with the other mutants featured in the book. And then the scene where he's telling Max he's going to torture him for hours, record it so he can listen to his own amusement. And then he spits in his face. It was just a really disgusting scene. And then one of my favorite moments is when Max has had enough of Ignatius' bullshit, whips out his big dick and pisses in his face. This scene I really enjoyed. I was laughing. And then I was thinking to myself, okay, that was a nice little way to end this chapter. After I'm done reading the part where it follows Jack and Potts for a bit, right to the next chapter, it goes straight back to Max Terrell pissing more in Tenacious face, and it's like, this scene I really enjoyed. I just want... Could you imagine if this book series was ever made to a film, and they went to film that this scene where Max Terrell is giving Ignatius a golden shower, and just could you imagine how great the camera work would be? It just enjoy that scene. It was a lot of fun, and then it follows. The novel follows both, like, Jack and Potts trying to rescue Max. And then it shows Max struggling to basically to resist to the mutants as they torture in the most brutal ways possible. It was really nasty stuff. There's a scene where Max is being held by wires, and he's being poked with needles and stuff. Like, ooh, this is just really getting intense. And then they're shocking him, and they're trying to subject him to the worst pain possible. And it's like, this is brutal. It's like something straight out of like the Saw movies almost. And then the story it begins to show that these mutants, they're despite them following their overlord Ignatius, however, there is signs of corruption within this mutant army. You got Turok and then his gunsmith Hardin, who views against their overlord, feel that they feel that he's not really a mutant, he's more of a cyborg, and they fear that after the humans are been exterminated, that Ignatius won't have any use for them anymore, so he's going to render them obsolete and get rid of them. So they decide to launch a coup d'etat against their own overlord to overthrow him. And this was really interesting. It was interesting to see this, seeing these despicable mutant characters. Not only are they are just absolutely treat humans like low life forms. They're nasty to each other, nasty to their own society as well. Like, you got mutants are trying to screw over another mutant so they can get a higher ranking in the military or gain more power or control. It was really interesting to read these scenes of these corruption within the mutants and stuff. And of course we get to see more grotesque, disgusting mutants throughout this book. And I was like, God damn, I would just love to see what these things would look like on the big screen. That would be really cool to see these mutants on the big screen. Imagine how disgusting and they would be, just to see them and the havoc and mayhem they cause. It would be really cool. Another improvement I felt in this book is that I felt Jack's character begins to really improve. He becomes more mature and begins to toughen up, knowing that now it's up to him to save Max. And if he fails, that this could bring the end to the human race, because without Max Terrell, the humans won't have a strong leader to lead them into battle, and it's up to Jack and his friend Potts to save them. And I really like how Jack just improves dramatically over the first book. The first book he was okay, but I felt this guy was a real pushover, and he was just ignoring the problem and just thinking, if I don't get involved, it's not my problem. Then you realize that if you keep looking away and keep your head down, it will become your problem. And of course this comes back to bite him in the worst way possible when his girlfriend Jenny is brutally murdered. So he's got a grudge to settle with the mutants. He's gonna take this war to them, and he wants to ensure that the human race does not lose to the mutants, realizing the threat they pose, and he's gonna do whatever it takes to stop them and save Max Terrell, who's like a big brother to him. So overall, I had a lot of fun with this book. The action was really good. The characters I really liked. There wasn't really any characters that I disliked. Well, there's the mutants, of course, who I despise them. They're the most like the most atrocious, ruthless, cruelest characters I've ever read. Yeah, so like I despise the villains, of course, but the human characters I really enjoyed. They're a lot of fun to read. There was one part of the book I kind of was a little annoyed. There's a part where this I found funny. Early in the book, Jack and Potts go to Kansas to get some fuel and some supplies before they're making their way to Colorado, and they meet these halfsies, these like half human, half mutant hybrids. This one, Penelope, takes a real liking to the two guys, and then later on she tries to seduce both of them, which I thought was hilarious. As this as this as this halfsy is like absolutely horny all the time. And then this, of course, leads to a shocking discovery that they lure humans to them so they can sell their sperm to the mutants to make money and then kill them, essentially. And then right after that, when they get to Colorado and they meet the Native Americans, right off the bat, the native girl, Jill Morningstar, takes a liking to Jack, and it isn't long until she easily seduces him. I thought, this is hilarious. It's like all these women have the hots for Jack, and then she compliments that Potts is really cute. So this I thought was just funny, and there's some good dark humor in the mix as well, especially from Max Turkel, who has a lot of like good one-liners and stuff. And I thought this is the thing I love. I love seeing like these badass action characters from like 80s and 90s films, and they crack one-liners. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, so despite some things I didn't like with this book, and the scene that I thought was just kind of like a little annoying is that there's a part in it where after Jack and Jill have sex, then they're talking, and then he says something which upsets her. They have this little argument, but then they just go right back at it again. I was like, really? Did you have to add that scene? Like, I just found it was a little annoying, but it was like the one thing that the one part that came up. And then another part I thought was kind of a little on the silly side is when Ignatius goes to execute Max Raquel, but then the execution is canceled because he owes the mutant IRS funds for unpaid debt, and now this prevents him from killing Max. I just thought this scene was kind of like just really goofy. It would have made more sense if Hardin did something to prevent the execution from happening, like sabotaging the machines or something. Like something that would make more sense. Something that would that would be more believable. Like that I just kind of felt was just a little goofy. But other than that, I really enjoyed Mutant Hell, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading more in this series. And I want to say a big thank you to my subscribers and followers. Within a few days of posting the first Mutants Amok book, it's already 100 views. Like, I'm just shocked to see how fast the views have climbed since I posted that first video. Like, I expected it would do okay. And then over time we'll get more views, but holy shit, like this thing got 100 views within like 4 to 5 days. I'm shocked. I didn't expect that, so I'm definitely gonna be reading these books all week to get this series wrapped up, and I'm just looking forward to seeing this series do well on the channel. Alright, that's for the review today. Hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel where I post book reviews, book hauls, and official content. Until then, I'll catch you later.